Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a full get ready with me, and I'm going to be doing something I've never done before. Getting my real ID, finally. I am so late to the party, I realize that. And to top it off, I'm actually finally also going to be getting my passport renewed. That expired way too long ago. Don't even want to go there. We are not messing with this photo. You've got one shot. This has to be a one-shot wonder. This one shot, as you know, will haunt us for a decade minimum. Let's dive into makeup, hair, wardrobe, all the do's and don'ts of taking an actual good ID photo. Spoiler alert, it involves no glitter, no glow, and definitely, most definitely, no SPF. Let's get started. First up, clean skin. Bioderma Hydra Bio H2O micellar water, making sure there's no leftover skincare, dirt, or oil on your face. You're going to want a clean slate, especially for a flash photo with surgical lights on you. Shine is just not your friend today, folks. Now we're going to do something weird but genius. We're curling our lashes using a lash curler that I'm heating slightly with a lighter. Hear me out. Just don't burn yourself, okay, and at your own risk. But curling beforehand, and especially with a heated eyelash curler, really helps to lift and open the eyes for that, wide awake, flash-proof gaze. As close to the root as possible, pumping ever so softly about 3 to 5 times. Then I'm going to be applying the first layer of Essence Lash Princess. I like to give my eyelashes a little structure because I'm barely working with any. And I like to do so on a clean canvas for anyone new watching my channel. But don't get it twisted, folks. I am going to be putting just a little bit of falsies later. Okay? Time for brows. Very important. I just got my nanoblading done, so I'll be using and applying arnica gel for healing. But if I were doing this without nanoblading, I would go in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz pencil in 2 different shades for dimension. So I normally use soft brown first, and then I go in with medium brown, lightly shading. More than to reshape the brow, I would aim for your brows to be twins, not sisters. Somewhat symmetrical, especially when it comes to like where your inner part of your brow starts and where your arch is. At least that, and the tail. So basically the whole brow. Good luck. No, I'm kidding. And no pressure. And it's all good if you don't. I mean, look, definitely not twins. Close though. I'm using the Smashbox Photo Finish Smooth and Blur Primer. I mean, this is an oldie but goodie. You can always depend on this bad boy. Last time I used this was on my sister for her wedding. It creates that flash-friendly matte base. And remember, only use a tiny bit starting from the T-zone. And for sure, give it time to prime. Didn't intend to make that rhyme. So while this sits on my face and works its magic, I am going to use, and this was gifted, they gave me all of their new hydrating lip stains. Shout out to Milani. What I don't want to do is just continue to apply like lipstick as I drive hours away to get this done and then just have it like build up and it's just going to be gross, and then one shot wonder, I'm going to have like stuff around my mouth. I would die. I'll die. This is in the shade Rose Rising. And the reason why I'm doing my lips first is because I do want to kind of set the undertone of my lips to know what I'm going to do with my eyes. I have seen multiple reviews of Huda's amazing lip liner stains, and they say it has to basically be stored upside down for the product to really show and for it to work. The reason why I'm doing this after the stain is because this is so pigmented. I need to put the lipstick stain on first, and then I will see how little to apply of this. Wish me luck. Okay, let's see. Now for complexion. Pin the hair back. Foundation that I'm going to be using is Shiseido Synchro Skin Radiant Lifting Foundation in the shade Pine 320. Just a couple pumps. You want to go for a medium coverage. That is the goal. You don't want your foundation to be too cakey, but you also don't want it to be too glowy and sheer. Even though the name in this foundation says the word radiant, I have to be careful not to get it into my freshly nano-bladed brows. This formula is beautiful. It really has a satin matte finish to it with 0 SPF, and that is so important. You do not want to use a foundation or any complexion products that have SPF in it. And the reason for wanting to avoid SPF is because the flashback, you guys, it's so real. Okay, so now that I have my complexion on, so for concealer, I'm using the NARS Soft Matte in Custard because it is full coverage. Now, I am gonna gently apply this. What I don't want is for my fine lines and any type of like just build up. Angie Hot and Flashy A506 is a great concealer brush. Got some on my brush and I'm just taking off any excess. Again, you can always build, you just can't take away product. I'm gonna start just in the corner, inner corner. I'm gonna still try to avoid like right under my bottom lashes. That's just not needed. We don't need anything there. Down my nose, around the mouth area, and right underneath my lips to the chin. So that's a good, like, that amount, which was barely any, to be quite honest, that I had on my brush is perfect for like the T-zone area. Everybody's different. It's very personal, obviously. But like for me, I get most of my darkness from the inner corner of my eye. Oh, and by the way, as far as wardrobe goes, this is what I'm going to be wearing. I'm going to be wearing something that shows my clavicle, what you don't want to wear and what you do want to avoid at all costs. Turtlenecks, print, bright colors, and white, because your background is white. So you're going to look like a floating head. Sheer, stay far away from sheer. I had a really cute like black sheer top. I was like, oh, this could be cute. No sheer. To set the under eyes, I'm going to be using Laura Mercier Brightening Powder in shade 1. So I'm just going to tap it in using a Angie Hot and Flashy brush. Just lightly dust it under the eyes, up to the temple. I'm just going to put the rest of it onto my eyelids. Then for the rest of the face, I'm going to be using Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Powder, using Hourglass brush number 14. Focusing this powder around the nose, T-zone, and basically just anywhere you typically get oily, but you also just want to avoid shine altogether. You really do want to make sure your face is as matte as possible. I'm going to be going in with Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder in shade 2 medium. What I love to use is is shade 1 of this same powder, but that's mainly for brightening, and we're trying to really sculpt and just add a little bit more shadow in a way. Let's move on to eyes. First, we're going to start with Makeup by Mario's Longwear Cream Eyeshadow in the shade Blush. These are some of his newest products that are out currently. If anyone has been contemplating on getting this, it's great. However, it dries fast. So when applied, you kind of have to either use your fingers, which I prefer to do, or you need to just do one eye at a time. Again, we want to stick to mattes. So who is the master of all the mattes as far as eyeshadow goes? Makeup by Mario. Look how beautiful that is. We're going to now move on to Makeup by Mario's. This is one of my favorite liners, matte eyeliner. This is Perfect Brown. You've got dual ended. You've got like a little blending brush here at the end. First, I'm going to create a tight line. So I'm going to tight line right underneath my top lashes, lightly, just to make it look like I have more. It's a great like illusion just to make your lashes look a lot fuller, though I'm going to add a couple of wispies. And then as far as the liner goes, I'm just going to go in from the side of the eyeliner and the eye pencil, create a tiny little wing, just tiny, but they're clean, the brushes. Now that I created that base as far as eyeliner goes, I used his dark brown. This is in matte number 11. I just put a little bit of product onto it, tap off the excess. I am just going over that liner and really just blending everything and kind of Not going for a smoky eye by any means, but just not going for any harsh lines either, if you know what I mean. To avoid any harsh lines, I'm going to use the same brush that I used, just lightly stamping the bottom right underneath my bottom lash. Just going halfway though, not going all the way across. A beige eyeliner that stays and sticks onto your waterline, because there's lots of beige eyeliners out there, but not every single liner has pigment the way that Swede always sold out. This is such a perfect, like, for my skin tone, like a beige pinkish. Look at that pigment. It just easily glides on and it stays that way. Now it's time for eyeshadow layering using the same Master Mattes palette, eyeshadow palette by Makeup by Mario. I'm going to be using a smaller blending brush like this one from Refer. This is Refer number 14. These two colors together right in the crease area. I'm going to be blending this into the crease along with underneath the eye as well. Number 7, to basically layer on top of the eyeliner, diffusing it a little bit more so it's more of a blended. Basically what I'm trying to do is tone and soften the entire lash line, and as well as the bottom as well. Using this shade with a new and smaller blending brush. This is Refer 14. Tapping off the excess again and focusing more on the inner corner of the eye and eyelid. Just wanting to lighten up that part right there to make it even more lifted and really focusing on opening up the eyes. So subtle, but a difference for sure. Time to curl the lashes again. Yes, again. I'm doing this so that I don't have to apply a whole strip of lashes. I'm going to be using Ardell's, some of my favorite press-on naked cluster of lashes that I've ever used. No glue is needed. I've already applied it on this eye, as you can see, just to really open the eye. Basically placing where your lashes naturally look the fullest. Now I'm going to go back in with my Essence Lash Princess Mascara one more time. Very thin layer, just to mesh my actual lashes with Ardell's. Going to apply on the bottom as well, lightly. To finish the cheeks, I'm going to be using Gucci Luminous Matte in Bright Coral in the shade 04. It really does just give this natural flush. It gives the perfect natural flush without looking glowy, greasy, or like I suffer from blush blindness, like I do. Back to lips. We're going to be finishing off using one of my favorite lip liners, Anastasia Beverly Hills Lip Liner in Deep Taupe. Slightly overlining the Cupid's bow only, using the side of the pencil, kind of filling in the corners a little bit. Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk Fair lipstick, just in the center. I do believe that this lip tint really did help just to create a base, though the shade's completely different, but still, just to have your lips be just one color underneath, I think helps. This is a new product that I have never used until recently, and I'm in love. This is by Melt. This is a interesting gloss because it gives that matte finish, which is, first of all, I've never really experienced that with a gloss, but it also creates a little bit of a gloss effect and has a spice to it, but it's not too spicy. I hate when my glosses are too spicy to the point where I want to wipe off the product. This just creates a beautiful plump, but not too shiny, not too spicy, and not too glowy. I mean, not bad. especially since I'm about to show you what my last passport pic and driver's license picture looked like. Over a decade ago. Yes, at least I was happy. I did put some makeup on, but you know, we evolve. This looks exactly the same as my actual ID, driver's license. Look at that baby fat. Look at that, those cheeks. So cute. I love her. The most recent one looks like I am a criminal. Yeah, creepy. I was not ready for this. I was caught off guard. I think I was just coming back from my honeymoon, I believe. But I look a little bit like I'm in trouble. Who knows? Maybe it was a sign. And that's it, folks. This is the final look I'll be wearing when I walk into that DMV with beautiful surgical lighting. I feel confident, put together, and more importantly, camera ready. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with anyone who's due for a passport or real ID update. Maybe I'm the only one that's left that hasn't updated anything yet. But if I'm not alone, let me know in the comments below, or feel free to share the worst ID photo you've ever taken and that you've ever had in your possession. Until next time, love you guys.